Cloak and Dagger. A brief farewell. Cloak is seen dragging 3 vampires into the Dark Force dimension of his cloak, knowing that what goes into the Dark Force rarely comes out. He fights in New York City. The city is constantly in darkness as Dracula was causing eternal night. Although she was not in sight, Cloak could hear Dagger telling him he's taking it easy on the vampires. He pushes the aggression aside and remembers when this all started. Tyrone Johnson and Tandy Bowen were fighting criminals when they saw a bright light flash in the sky. Knowing that something was wrong, Dagger jumps into the Dark Force dimension and Cloak follows and guides them to safety. Cloak quickly exits the portal, but he doesn't see Dagger. He worries for her safety when he hears Tandy's voice clear as day. Cloak exerted his will to summon Dagger from the Dark Force, when suddenly, beams of light force burst out from him. He lets out an anguished scream and sees Dagger standing where he just was. But now, he was gone. The feeling was strange. It was as if he was looking at the world through Dagger's eyes. Baffled, Dagger sought the help of Reed Richards. Reed surmised that because the two traveled through the Dark Force dimension as the time stream entanglement hit their reality, the two of them had become entangled on a molecular level. To make matters more confusing, Dagger, while normally being a more heroic figure, was becoming more impatient and dark. Cloak saw this slow transition and felt guilty. Being trapped in the Dark Force for prolonged periods of time was affecting her negatively. One day, as Cloak was finishing up some vampires, he gets a message from Reed asking for their presence. He teleports through the Dark Force, but Dagger used her willpower to be the one who appeared on the other side. And Reed explains that he can use a smaller version of the time stream reintegration device to possibly separate the two heroes. She lets Richard activate the machine, and to their surprise, the two are seen standing right next to each other, like they once did a very long time ago. They hug. However, Richard seems confused. He explains that while they can both occupy the same plane, they are still entangled. If Cloak were to enter the Dark Force, the two of them would combine back to one. Now, Dagger is not upset in the slightest. Just use your other abilities. But Cloak is annoyed that his main ability can't be used anymore. Now, at this moment, Reed says, "I just got news from Ben that a ferry is being attacked by vampires. No sweat, we'll be there in..." Cloak started to say before realizing that he can't teleport throughout the city anymore. Cloak and Dagger make their way to the city manually. They board the ship, knocking vampires off the vessel in style, and it feels good to fight alongside each other again. They make it to the control room. Through the door, they see vampires surrounding scared citizens. Cloak thinks it's a trap, but Dagger doesn't think they should worry and rushes in. The door slams shut before Cloak can enter, though. Dagger says that she's got this. Cloak can't watch his best friend die, and he teleports to the civilians, grabbing them and Dagger, and teleports all of them to Reed Richards' laboratory. He looks for Dagger, but he only hears her. "Don't worry, Ty. I'm still here whether I like it or not." Cloak wished he could look into Dagger's eyes and tell her how he felt, but right now, hearing her voice would be enough. He headed back into the night, ready to fend off darkness by himself, but never alone.